we were doing a motorcycle trip through the entirety of Mexico, a ton of people had the same reaction. Why Mexico? Isn't Mexico dangerous? Are you trying to get killed? To much of the world, and especially people in the States, Mexico often looks like this. But Mexico is a massive country with over 130 million people. It has rich history, delicious food, incredibly diverse landscapes, and most importantly, incredible people. And that was the Mexico we were seeking. The real Mexico. The idea of going on a cross-continental motorcycle trip was something all of us had been dreaming about for a long time. About a year before we even bought the bikes, Jonah, Jesse, and I had a conversation about how much we missed a real, proper adventure. All three of us are super fortunate to travel a ton, but we were craving a trip where the itinerary wasn't meticulously planned, one where we let the adventure happen to us. From the very beginning, we decided it had to be on motorcycles. Next, we looked at a map and just sort of picked an area none of us had ever spent much time in before, and that was South America. About a month before we left, it became clear that the original plan just wouldn't work logistically. It would take us 10 days to get all the paperwork started, and with only a month-long trip, it just wouldn't work. We hopped on the phone, started brainstorming, and a new, grander idea started to form. We'd buy bikes in the States, setting out from LA and head as far south as possible over the course of that first month. From there, we'd store our bikes somewhere in southern Mexico and return in a year to do Central America, followed by South America a year later. This month would just be the first leg of a much longer, grander journey. So with only 4 weeks left until departure day, we got to work.
Since we're leaving from my house, it's been like every day for the last week and a half. It's just like swarms of packages. We're just filling up our guest room to the brim with motorcycle gear in preparation for this trip. All right, let me just add one more to the slowly growing pile. And 4 hours later, it's ridiculous.
Bike number 2 and 3 is officially here.
I've just been waiting for the three of them sitting next to each other.
Yeah. Do you have any neighbors, Jonah?
Not for long. Warm up a little bit.
Oh, so
it's
close.
Coming.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Sick.
Damn. Let's freaking go.
Thanks, Cam. Appreciate it.
Yeah, cool. Have fun. Hope you guys have a great time.
Thanks,
Yeah,
thanks.
thanks, man. All right, so today is the day before we theoretically leave. This morning we went on a little bit of a ride. Jesse's out over here finally getting his bike rolling, and we have just crap loads of boxes to go through. I am gonna get to work because today is basically our only day.
Dude, holy crap. We got some this is so cool. Yeah. I think we've all been dreaming about doing this since we were like 8 years old.
Yeah. Take a look inside this bag. We got only the essential items that everyone needs to survive.
Polaroids, drones.
Dane's like, well, I didn't bring any pants. I don't have my passport, but I do have 16 drones.
The first night we slept in a random park in Costa Mesa, California, which was just about an hour north of the border. A month of mostly unknown lay ahead of us. Tomorrow we would embark on what we hoped would be one of the best adventures of our lives.
Oh, paradise. Something. On your bike, that's super weird.
I seem to have lost my phone.
Day one, just
Day
before
one.
crossing the border, Danny's phoneless.
Day one, we've made it to San Diego. One phone has been lost. All of our gear has been soaked. We haven't entered Mexico yet.
No, but I think we all slept pretty damn well actually, which is really nice. And we woke up to this surprisingly nice view. I don't know how well you can see. The new random residential neighborhoods, San Diego. Mwah. Thank you. Today will also be the first definite official test of the Revit gear. We have high hopes to stay warm and dry on this very not warm, dry day.
I think we're good as new. After being on the road for less than 24 hours, we realized there's some shit in our bikes that we don't need. So we're at the UPS store making some copies and then shipping some stuff home that is just kind of extra. One of those items that Jonah is not sending back is a freaking actual pillow that he is now set on the asphalt.
How'd that get on the ground, man?
You sure you don't want to ship that back?
No, I love it. It's so comfy.
Okay.
I don't think I know anyone who likes small, comfy items more than Jonah. Like by like a possibly like 1,000% difference.
As we headed out to the border, storm clouds loomed on the horizon. It was just our luck that day one of our great adventure just happened to be when Southern California was getting some of its worst weather in decades. We fought through the rain and hail, finally made it to the border in Tecate, and got to work on all our paperwork.
We got our immigration visas, and I got my import permit for my bike, but unfortunately Danny got a little fucked because they didn't accept his registration or his title for some reason. He doesn't have registration. So tomorrow we have to go back across the border and go to the DMV and get him registered, and then hopefully Jonah's gonna come out in a minute with all the shit he needs, and they'll be good. So in the meantime, we'll meet tacos.
Jonah and Jesse were able to get their permits right away, but for me, it was no dice. So we had to stay in Tecate for the night, wake up early, go back to the DMV station on the US side, and try again. What did you just say you're gonna go do?
Just try on my pillow.
This is for comparison. Here's, well, I guess we're already on day 2, and it's a green background, but that is Jonah's pillow in the beginning of the trip. Yeah, let's get some.
This is like when you rent a car. Just to make sure there's no scratches.
A rare blizzard warning has been issued for parts of Southern California. The first one issued in decades. The mountains of Los Angeles and Ventura County will see wind gusts of up to 75 miles per hour and 2 to 5 feet of snow. None of us have ever ridden bikes with like proper riding gear, and the jackets and pants that Revit hooked us up with honestly like kept us completely warm. There was one point where we were on our comms and it was hailing and we were just kind of like, this is really weird being warm and riding a motorcycle in hail. The border crossing went smoothly. I got my permit and we finally hit the road. Our first day in Mexico would be mostly on dirt. I'd had a decent amount of riding experience on dirt, but this was pretty much Jonah and Jesse's first time. And even I'd never ridden with close to 100 pounds of gear on the back of my bike. On top of that, the rain from the storms made a slippery layer of mud on top of all the dirt, making the roads way more difficult than they would have been before. Alright, so we just got our first taste of mud. Jesse got freaking rocked.
I went up to like here on the bike or something.
It really did. It was
It was really deep.
like your legs were up and it was like your ass was almost in the puddle.
Yeah.
Let's fucking go.
Along the way, we passed 2 heavily armed Humvees with Mexican military soldiers. Being this close to the border, all the back roads are heavily patrolled. We weren't sure whether to feel reassured or more nervous, but we pushed on.
I just got barbed wire on the ground stuck, wrapped around my wheel and my chain.
So we have our first issue of the trip. And I'm not sure if you can see it behind me, but there's a giant piece of barbed wire in Jonah's spoke.
That's good.
Going? Yep.
Something else.
Yep. There we go.
Let's go!
Yeah, buddy. Souvenir for the road.
I'm gonna take this home.
Yeah, dude.
Wear it around your head like a crown.
Sick.
Fuck yeah.
The barbed wire incident set us back time-wise, so we had to haul ass to get to the next town. As we headed towards our camp spot for the night, we were treated with the most incredible sunset. Both Jonah and I wanted to get off the bikes to film it, but this trip was unlike anything we'd ever done before. In addition to trying to film everything, we also had to cover an immense amount of ground every day. It was at that point that we realized how much stuff we wouldn't have time to capture on our cameras. We'd have to really soak this trip in, burning it into our memories. That night we made camp down some small dirt road off the highway.
Looking pretty.
Yeah.
We had an early start and headed towards the coast. Our destination, a small seaside town called San Felipe. Before we reached the ocean for the first time on this trip, we saw what had to be one of the most incredible billboards of our lives. After recharging with some tacos in San Felipe, we left to get back on the road. Or so we thought.
Yeah, of all places, we just went through a bunch of dirt and then came out to a restaurant, had a nice relaxing meal, and came out, and Jesse was like, oh my god, this pavement's so slippery. We were like, no, your tire is completely flat. So they're working it out while I do nothing.
I think it's that way from what I remember.
A present for you.
Thanks, dude.
Joe, did you see the culprit?
What is it?
It's a big fat nail that was in my tire.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
We started to work on the tire, and literally just as we started fixing it, an entire mariachi band came through and started playing.
Two very different worlds right here. This is hilarious.
My tire went flat, and the town got a whole band to like support us while we were changing it.
So amazing.
Welcome to Mexico.
We finally fixed the flat and headed south. The next day, we'd be crossing the peninsula to one of the most remote regions of the trip. We weren't able to find much info about where we were going, other than that it was incredibly beautiful. We set up camp just as the sun was setting. It was a long day, so we got some much needed sleep.
Alright, let's hit it. That is so fucking fun.
Very fun.
Oh my god! Holy shit, you're so stuck. Alright, ready? 3, 2, 1.
We'd be riding over 100 miles of tiny dirt roads to a remote beach we'd found on Google Earth. We were hours from any kind of town, so we went a bit out of the way to get gas. We found some guy with a barrel in his truck bed, filled our tanks and some extra water bottles with gas, then headed off into the unknown. As we wound our way towards the coast, massive saguaros towered around us. This was the Mexico we'd been dreaming of. It felt like all the prep work was finally paying off.
Oh my god, this is like the avatar tree of cacti. Wow.
It was this feeling of ultimate freedom. We didn't know where we'd be spending the night, but we were surrounded on all sides by some of the most incredible landscapes we'd ever seen.
Oh my god, it totally feels like another planet. I can't. Yeah, I come out.
Before we knew it, we had our first taste of the Pacific. Incredible white sand beaches went as far as the eye could see, and we were the only people there besides a few other surfers.
Yeah, this spot is so good. Shit.
Fucking sick.
True bug.
Holy shit.
Yeah, we
What
did
have I
it.
been fucking dreaming about.
Fucking insane.
God, this is insane. It's so beautiful. It's a little chilly.
Could be colder, could be warmer.
What are you munching on there, Jesse?
Just a tortilla sandwich. It's just a tortilla with more tortilla in it. It's very portable. All the nutrients you need, all the parts of the food pyramid or whatever the fuck it's called.
All the carbs plus all the carbs in the middle, and then the carbs.
Right,
on
yeah,
top.
you got your tortilla, okay? And then you got your air, which is a really important part of any food. And then you have some more tortilla, and that's kind of all you need.
You guys are actually not gonna believe what just happened to me. I was just taking a poop over that hill, and while I was pooping, I got pooped on by a bird.
No.
Completely dead ass. It's so gross. It's like sticky and ugh.
We pushed further south. Of course, after we ripped the hell out of our bikes on the beach. That day we got attacked by a few dogs, found a beach made entirely of pebbles with some amazing shells on them, and passed something none of us expected to see.
Dude, no way. So we were just riding, hopped off the bikes, and Danny spotted this entire whale skeleton. Insane.
We pushed on, back to the Sea of Cortez side. I know you're probably thinking, it's been over 2 days since you guys got a flat. So here you go. This time it was me. But an insanely kind local helped get us back on the road in no time.
Oh shit. Gnarly. Wow, this got spicy very quickly.
Just got on this trail down to a campsite, and it ended up being way gnarlier than we realized. It's pretty bad.
Oh fuck. My knee just got fucking pinned.
You good? Got what?
Ow. Yeah, I'm fine. Not a great spot, but I'm good. That felt not dope. Yep.
Wow, we just went down some really insane stuff. Oh my god.
Phew! That was exciting.
We camped out under a beautiful Baja night sky, thankful that no one had gotten hurt on the way down to the camp spot. But then in the morning, we still had to go the rest of the way down.
Jonah, what'd you just say?
I tried to pack the groceries on the left side where the strap wasn't, but I guess it shifted around and I exploded a banana onto my pillow.
All right, let's see the damage. Oh yeah.
The road keeps going down to the beach and then eventually hits like a chill road out, so we think that going down will be a little bit easier than trying to go back up loose rock. It didn't look great last night, but I think it's the better option, so we're gonna try it and see how it goes.
So Jonah dumped the bike and had a hard time getting back up, so Jesse went up and grabbed his bags and he's just slowly coming down. Holy shit. Well done. Dude, I have some good news. These guys showed up. They had orange juice and tamales.
Oh my god.
Damn.
From here, we continued south, past a really cool old church that was actually built in the 1600s, then further towards another off-road section that would take us into some incredibly remote, more unknown regions of Baja. The terrain got tougher from here, and really was testing us.
Gas is off. Holy shit! Jesse, look at me. Oh my god, you have a stick in your face.
The whole way we were riding, we were following these bicycle tracks, and about 70 miles in, we found the bikers. We asked them where they started, and they said Poland.
You started in Poland?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Our wrists and arms were worked at that point. We'd covered almost 100 miles of brutal rocky terrain. As we descended towards the coast, green rocks lined the cliff sides around us. Finally, we made it back to the ocean, but we were in desperate need of gas. Luckily, we ran into some fishermen with their own tank.
Well, just dumped my bike again. Hopefully draining the carb will work, because if not, I'm very far out there to have a not running bike.
So we are quickly finding out on this trip that bike trips take a lot longer than any other type of road trip because there's just always stuff happening. You're tipping the bike, you just have to stop for fuel. There's just a lot of issues that come up, the bike breaks, that you don't really have to deal with otherwise. So we've been taking it pretty slow, pacing wise, but we're trying to just be as safe as we can and hopefully not break our bikes to the point where we won't make it to the end of this trip. But it is definitely kind of frustrating when stuff like this happens, but it's just kind of part of the journey. And Jonah will figure it out. Right, Jonah? Hopefully. There's literally a buzzard like around you, like waiting for you to die. Alright, we're in a bit of a grim state here.
Well, so can't even talk, my mouth's too full of peanut butter, but we're really, really hungry. We've been riding for like all day with no food. And I discovered that I had 2 remaining tortillas in my pannier, but they were right next to the gas, like the stove we used to cook our food. So they tasted like gasoline, but the peanut butter kind of cancels out the gasoline.
That's a nice stick. What are you eating?
Can of tuna. Honestly, it tastes luxurious right now.
We just want to get to tacos as soon as we can. Just want to give a quick check-in on Jonah's pillow situation.
Fuck off!
We'll put in a little flashback to day 1, but I'm certain that this is not as white.
You guys are over.
Is that?
You're underreacting.
We pushed on to La Paz, which is where we'd be taking a ferry to mainland Mexico the next day. Our last night in Baja, we camped out at the beach again. It was honestly kind of sad spending our last night there. We had had such an amazing time. The terrain was like nothing we'd ever seen, and there was this amazing sense of freedom that came with it. Camp where you want, ride where you want. Before we left Baja, I had a friend down in Cabo I really wanted to see, so before our ferry left, we headed down to see him and do some scuba diving. Dive Ninjas is owned by my friend Jay, which, by the way, is the best dive shop in Cabo if you ever find yourself there. We headed out and did 2 amazing dives. The dive was incredible. We saw tons of whales on the way out, and coral, fish, rays, and a shark under the water. It was so good to see Kenzo, a reminder of all the awesome people you meet when you go out traveling. After getting back from the marina, we had to immediately head back up north to catch the ferry in time. If all went to plan, we'd get there 2.5 hours before the ferry left, but as we learned by now, when you're on a motorcycle trip, that just doesn't happen.
This does not look like a bike ready for a ferry.
Not a bike ready for a ferry.
It doesn't leave for another couple hours, but we have to basically leave like 30 minutes ago to get there on time. But Jesse now is flat. It's the 3rd flat of the trip. And so we need to fix this in order to get the ferry to Mazatlan, and it's going to be tight.
Jonah has my rear tire and wheel on the back of his bike and is going to get a tire shop to put it on because we could get it on to like the last like 4 or 5 inches of bead, and then we just like could not get it on no matter what we did.
Swell job on the tire recon. Nice job. Oh. Let's see if we can make it.
We hauled ass back to La Paz, knowing we'd only be getting there an hour and a half before the ferry left. As we got up to the final road to the ferry, there was a massive bike race blocking the only road to the boat.
We closed the road at 2. It is now almost 6 o'clock, so we are extremely late. We have no idea if we're gonna get in right now, and we will lose $1,000 if we miss this ferry. How do you feel about that, Jonah?
I'm so numb to it at this point. I can't even. I'm just like.
As we showed up, we saw a few other bikers that were waiting too. We went to ask them what was going on, and just as we did that, immediately one of them waved at us to follow. This was our first time unofficially meeting Miguel. Somehow Miguel and his friends had convinced the police to let us through, and now we found ourselves riding motorcycles through the middle of a Tour de France qualifying bike race. Lo and behold, we somehow made it on the boat, and we're shortly on our way to mainland Mexico.
Goodbye, bikes. Hope you're here when we get back. Jesus.
As the Baja coast slowly faded away, we started talking to Miguel. He and 7 others were doing a huge tour through the roads of Baja, and were on their way back to Querétaro, just north of Mexico City. He told us where to go and where not to go, and then invited us to have dinner with him and his family when we rolled through his hometown a couple days later. We had some dinner on the boat, then fell into a deep sleep. Mazatlan, our gateway to mainland Mexico. By far the biggest city we'd seen since we left Los Angeles. Things felt different here. It was hard to tell if it was just the energy of the city or the fact that we had spent the last 10 days in really remote areas. In Mazatlan, we were able to get a few things patched up. Jonah got his new duffel bag, but still had some lingering problems.
Alright, so we officially made it to mainland Mexico, which I think for all of us kind of makes this trip a little bit more real. Just wanted to give a quick update on our gear, our motorcycles, what's going on. It's kind of a reset point because going forward, we're not sure how many really big cities we're going to hit, so we want to get our bikes all good to go. The only really major thing that happened to me is I lost one of my backpack straps. It was just hanging down on accident. It got caught in the spoke and just ripped off. Another issue that my bike has had is I had really flimsy blinkers at the beginning. They were like electrical taped on. And so now, instead of a blinker on the right side, I have a hole with positive and ground wires coming out. And then this blinker is like the saddest excuse for a blinker I've ever seen. So maybe if Jesse finds a good Suzuki dealership, I could get new blinkers because that's pretty important when it comes to not getting hit.
With the kind of riding we've been doing, it's really, really, really rough on gear. The longer we've gone along, the more I've realized things I might have done differently. But the biggest thing for me is my main duffel bag, which keeps all the camera gear, everything like that dry. The zipper on the top, even though I got a really sturdy one, when we were riding off road, it got pulled so hard it just ripped the teeth apart. So for the last 5 days, I've been running with a duffel bag that doesn't close at all, which means I can't put it on my back. It's sketchy anytime there's rain. The bigger thing is that these panniers that I have on the side, with the weight they have in them, when we've been going on really rough off-road stuff, they've been slamming over and over, into the body of the bike. The inside of this bag here has been melting. So I been having to try and rush ship different bags from the US. Shout out you cute for my girlfriend for helping make that happen. Yeah, it's definitely been really rough on the gear. So hopefully this stop in Mazatlan will be able to kind of get our stuff under control and figure it out.
So my bike has been having some issues since pretty much the beginning of the trip. Basically, we eventually figured out that the reason I'm getting a bunch of white smoke coming out the exhaust is not oil, which is what I originally thought it was. But instead, there's a couple of little O-rings that seal 2 parts of the carburetor together, and they're leaking, and they're letting fuel just go into the engine all the time, basically. So there's a ton of fuel going into my oil, which means that the engine is getting lubricated properly, and so we really need to get it fixed, otherwise my top end's probably going to blow up in the next 500 miles. So the goal today is to go to a Suzuki dealership, if they have one here, and find those parts, and hopefully if I put them in and change my oil for a 3rd time, then my bike will survive the next rest of the trip. And at some point I noticed that my headlight was falling off. Oh, it's actually really falling off now. So I duct taped it on. We'll see how long that lasts.
The next day, we set out towards the mountains in between Mazatlan and Durango. The city turned to prairie, which quickly turned into rolling hills, and then mountains. Instead of taking the main highway, we opted to take the original one that was much less direct. There are few pleasures in life greater than riding motorcycles through twisty mountain roads. Cities and towns that used to be bustling were now mostly abandoned due to the new highway cutting them off from travelers. It was kind of sad to see, but a reminder again of how we live in an ever-changing, ever-evolving world. The mountains towered above us. Mexico just kept surprising us over and over. None of us ever expected to see mountains so big, and it was kind of the theme of the trip.
Wow. So sick.
We ended up slightly outside a town called La Ciudad in a pine tree forest, the first ones we'd seen since we left northern Baja. We set up camp and talked late into the night.
So yesterday we headed out of Mazatlan up into the mountains, and it's actually pretty weird to like be in trees again. We've just been in sand for the past 10 days, and so it's really nice to, you know, sit down and not have to look for scorpions and shit. And yeah, we just posted up outside this little town called La Ciudad in the mountains on our way to Durango, and stoked to just rip some more twisties and be out of the sand.
Unfortunately, last night, the two top straps that connect the bags, the side bags on either side of the bike, completely ripped, which is really not good because it's like, we're so limited on space. Like anytime we have one bag problem like this, like we're so screwed. So anyway, we have rushed bags shipping that'll be here in a few days, or like a city that we're gonna be, but for the time being, I'm like using this ratchet strap that we brought to change tires to kind of ratchet the handles together on either side of the bike, so hopefully they won't fall off.
That's not great.
Yeah.
That's like the worst by a lot.
At this point, we could really see the wear and tear on our bikes adding up.
I knew lashing from Boy Scouts would come in handy someday.
In a few days, Jonah's new panniers would arrive along with some parts for Jesse to fix his carb. But for now, we just had to make do with what we had.
Look how fluffy you are! Excuse me! Wow, they don't give a shit. Hey! Hey! Oh my goodness. Oh, another one. Hi! Alright, we just found the worst cattle guard for motorcycles on planet Earth. Wow, this is terrible. That's instant death right there. Oh my. Oh my god. Dude, no. Oh my god. 1, 2, 3. Nice.
Oh my god.
We'd heard of a town called Zacatecas up in the mountains, and it seemed like a cool town to check out, so we headed that way. We went from the dry, dusty deserts to all of a sudden finding ourselves in a city that felt like Europe. Cobblestone streets, beautiful architecture, and massive colonial cathedrals dotted the skyline. The city was founded in the 1500s when they discovered silver there, and it didn't take long for the Spanish to arrive. Hence why it looks more like Madrid and Barcelona than anything you'd expect in Mexico. We just had no idea places like this even existed in Mexico. One night turned into two, which then turned into three. It was right around the midpoint of our trip, so honestly, we could use a bit of rest. Not many international tourists venture this far into Mexico, so the entire time we were there, we only saw one other tourist from the US. During our second day in the city, we saw something we definitely weren't expecting to see. A crowd of over 20,000 women marched directly past our hotel, taking part in a national protest against gender-based violence in Mexico. We were warned by our hotel staff to stay out of the streets and even off the ground floor. And sure enough, things turned violent and they broke down the front door of our hotel. We filmed as much as we could before we got a crowd of angry people yelling at us to put the camera away. Regardless, we loved our time there, and after 3 days, it was time to move on. We headed out of Zacatecas early, bound for Aguascalientes and then Leon. Jesse was picking up parts in Aguascalientes, and Jonah was getting his resupply in Leon. On the way, the final blow to Jesse's rack system came.
So as we were riding, Jonah like rode up next to Jesse really fast and honked because his freaking rack, literally just the weld broke. Shit. And all his stuff is just dangling.
He saw a crack in the weld like a week ago, and luckily has another rack waiting in the next town that we're gonna get to tonight. But
Getting there is going to be interesting for sure.
This is like the jerry rig Olympics. Jesse and I are like competing.
you're winning.
We'll see how the ride goes. You might win.
Basically, what's holding this up is a ratchet strap, and then they're working on getting another one on the other side, and I think it'll last for 15 miles.
10 minutes? 10 seconds?
10 seconds.
Just north of Leon, we stopped at a railroad crossing and encountered La Bestia, or the Beast, which is an infamous train that immigrants from Central America will hop on top of and ride all the way up to the US border. It's incredibly dangerous. People fall asleep and get jolted off onto the tracks. I think it's easy for us to take it for granted how good we have it back home. People will literally risk life and limb just for a slim chance to get into the US. It really put things into perspective. Later that night, we got the care package.
Let's freaking go! Woo! Let's go, baby! Aw, it's kind of sad. Been through so much with them.
We spent the entire next day installing all the parts.
How's it coming?
I'm trying to change my spark plugs, but there's so much like dirt in the spark plug holes that it's really hard to like take them out without dropping a bunch of dirt in the cylinder. So I'm trying to like plug it with a finger and fucking blow it out.
Yeah.
Look at this piece of plastic. This is what my old bags were doing. The exhaust was burning into the side of the bike.
Ride motorcycles across Mexico, they say. It's fun. You will not spend the whole time
Fixing it.
healing in parking lot. Fixing it right, for sure.
Eventually, everything was installed, but before we got back on the road, Jonah had to do something with his old panniers. Remember the motorcyclist Miguel from the ferry ride? We were just a couple hours away from his house, so after the bikes were good to go, we headed to his town of Querétaro. Central Mexico was flat, but still beautiful. We all needed new tires, so we'd stop at Miguel's for the night, have dinner, and then he'd help us get some in the morning. As is becoming standard for this trip, as soon as we think things are going smoothly, they stop going smoothly. I got 3 flat tires that night, one being in the one city Miguel warned us not to stop in.
So we are on the side of the road in a town in Mexico that literally is one of the only places people warned us not to stop in. I just got a flat tire and it's getting dark. So we're gonna freaking try to change this really fast and get out of here.
Eventually we made it to his house. That night we had a few beers and made a game plan for getting tires. We hadn't realized that the next day was actually Sunday, meaning pretty much every store in the country is closed, a problem we'd run into several times. The tires would have to wait for the next day, so Miguel invited us to come check out a cool town nearby with his family called San Miguel de Allende. Miguel's family was incredibly kind to us and gave us a window into what life was actually like in Mexico. Meeting people like Miguel and his family are so much of what make travel special and memorable.
Seriously, Miguel, thank you so much for everything. We really, really, really appreciate it.
Thank you. You're the man. Hopefully see you somewhere where we live soon. Come visit.
Finally, the next day, we ended up at a dealership to get new tires.
I don't really want to take a video right now, but I just want to document that today sucks. And it's been such a struggle. And we've been sitting in a combination of a KTM dealership and Suzuki dealership since really early. Now we're slightly behind schedule where we want to be. And we're still waiting on new tires for me. Jesse just went to pick up another tire across town. I think Jonah's body posture kind of tells the story.
Things could be a lot worse, but it's like we just keep running into delays and delays, and it's like every time we have delays, it's like a tough sacrifice of like having to skip out on fun things that we had planned, like the whole point of the trip, in order to get farther along our route, because we do have to end at a certain point at a certain time. So it's kind of a constant battle on this trip. Luckily everyone's safe and healthy for the most part, so could be work.
Just frustrated. Safe but frustrated.
And dumping money down the drain.
And lighting money on fire.
It basically took us the whole day to get everything set for our trip. The team there took amazing care of us.
Let's frickin' go. Holy shit.
The team wished us well and we headed out, making it to a city just outside Mexico City. Earlier that day, someone told us about an epic volcano we could climb just east of Mexico City called Iztaccíhuatl. This had become the trip of why not, and being that we could come back and visit Mexico City anytime on a plane, we decided to skip out on Mexico City and ride to the base of the volcano, hoping to climb it the next day. As we got closer, the volcano loomed above us. It was actually one of 2 massive 17,000-foot volcanoes in the area. Slowly, the deserts turned to pine forest as we rode higher. Our engines sputtered more and more as the oxygen slowly left the air. We finally found ourselves at the visitor center in the saddle between the 2 peaks at 12,000 feet. It was here that we got some bad news. Because we were on motorcycles, we weren't allowed to go to the main base camp of the trail, adding an extra 8 miles to our trip that we already weren't prepared enough for.
We thought we'd basically be able to drive basically halfway between here and the summit, park, camp there, and then hike up, but apparently no motorcycles can go past here. So we're deciding if we should hike from here or something else.
It's not prepared for this.
Yeah.
Typically, to climb this mountain, people plan for months, spend multiple days acclimating at base camp, and have way more gear than we did. But it was either do it unprepared or not do it at all. So we'd camp nearby, store all of our stuff in a bush, drive back to the visitor center, and hike until it was dumb to go any further.
How you guys feeling? Ready?
Warmer now.
Stoked.
Did you guys sleep at all?
Not that much, to be honest. I think it's just like the pre-big event jitters. And I've honestly never woken up at 3 a.m. for a hike before, so
Well, at least it's
stoked.
also raining.
Is it raining?
Mm-hmm.
Hell yeah.
Sick. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Step one is to get to those towers. So we made it to where the actual trailhead starts that we were hoping we could drive up to. We're about 4 miles in right now, and it's not honestly till right here that you can really see how freaking far up that is. It's just a ton of vertical feet, so not really expecting to make it the whole way, but we'll go up to the highest possible elevation. Hopefully we can get the highest elevation any of us have ever hiked to, and then we will head back. So our food situation is pretty abysmal, but one of the main sources of calories we have
What are you talking about? This is great. This
are
is the best case
a
scenario.
crushed loaf of bread that is now crumbs and peanut butter. Oh my god, that's horrifying. Altitude is definitely feeling it now.
Yeah, big time.
So we actually literally just passed 14,000 feet, roughly the height of Pikes Peak right now. And it started snowing and the sun also came out.
It's weird going from like 4,500 feet at one point yesterday to 14,000 feet now in the span of like 18 hours.
We got, 15,001 feet. Yeah! Holy shit. This is definitely like the highest that I think any of us have been.
Yeah.
And we still have like a lot to go if we keep going.
Yeah, it's getting way colder.
It's pretty funny like being at 15,000 feet and then looking at that.
Being like, that's a lot.
We've been walking for literally like a single minute. It is ridiculous how exhausting it is. Jonah, what are you eating your tuna with?
Swiss Safe emergency thermal blanket. We're improvising.
We only have one spoon.
You guys want to keep moving?
Yeah, that was a good break.
I think we should probably keep rolling. You guys want to take a little breather?
Yeah, I think we should probably stop.
That was honestly too far. We should go back a little bit.
This is better.
Recharge.
Oh, dude, good hike. Let's go.
We have officially made it to the Refugio. It's just a little shelter. Guess this is everyone's stuff who's up summiting right now.
There was gear for hundreds of people, which later on we learned was the Mexican Special Forces doing a training mission.
And Refugio?
What's up?
How are the hands feeling?
Sick.
Chorizo para mano.
The slog. Oh my god.
so sick to see this cloud ripping up this face. It just started properly snowing, which is pretty, but kind of a little bit dangerous. If it gets much harder than this, we're probably gonna have to turn around immediately just because the terrain's gonna get super slippery and we don't really have the traction needed for that kind of thing. So.
What are you talking about, dude? I got Hokas.
Yeah, dude, those are sick.
So this volcano has several different peaks kind of throughout a ridgeline. And the first one is about 16,500 feet. And we have to be close elevation wise. So that's our goal, get to the top of that peak. We are definitely been in better shape at certain points, but I think we can make it. Oh, fuck, yeah. Let's start it.
Buenos dias.
Yeah, buenos dias. We're in good company. Yeah. No way. This is where we can peek. It's right here. Wow. Wow. Good shit.
Yeah, baby.
Let's go, baby. Let's see the final altitude. 16,500 feet. Holy shit, I genuinely didn't think we'd make it this high at all. So one thing that we've been saying, we said we would eat at the summit.
Oh, right, I forgot.
Jackpot, we got 3 Snickers bars.
Let's go.
Oh my god.
Sick. Dose. Thank you, sir. Trace.
Cheers, baby. Let's
Yeah.
fucking go.
Ah, I can't believe we're in Mexico right now. That's still so weird to me.
Oh my god.
Yeah. We gotta go down. So thankfully, our stashing method worked. And all of our stuff was just hanging out under a tree all day. Let's go.
By the time we got down from the mountain, we were completely exhausted, out of food, and still had an hour drive to the next town. But we loaded up and slowly made our way to Puebla. The next morning, we woke up at the foot of the Great Pyramid of Cholula. This was a place I was super excited to see because by volume, it's the biggest monument ever constructed by humans. Even bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. Before Cortez showed up in the 1500s, this place was a beautiful and thriving Aztec city. If you couldn't tell by the church on top, the Spanish eventually took over and went on to conquer the entire Aztec Empire. From Puebla, we headed south towards Oaxaca. Oaxaca was yet another incredibly beautiful city, with bustling streets, massive cathedrals, and amazing food. We spent one night there before heading south. We were officially in tequila and mezcal country.
Fuck. Oh, I just low-sided. Oh.
What'd you hit?
The biggest thing is my wrist. Ow.
That's water.
Wow. That's okay. I just want to chill for a sec. Oh, ow. Wow, it just fucking slid out. Ow. Fuck.
Ah, fuck. Your shifter's toast.
Just kind of turning left, and the back tire slid out underneath. And I kind of ate shit. Luckily, I'm not hurt worse. But now we gotta try and get this bike down the hill. And my shifter lever completely snapped.
Nice. A little redneck rigging here.
We're like 5 miles, maybe less, I don't know.
Something like that.
Down the dirt road. Basically the bike slipped on its side and snapped the shifter lever. It's gonna be really hard to get the bike down without being able to change gears. So we're gonna try and see if we can make a makeshift shift lever, basically. And then hopefully in the next town over, we'll be able to find someone or some sort of motorcycle shop that will have a shift lever that could work on the bike.
I'm gonna attempt to use JB Weld to attach this pannier bracket mount to the shifter right there so that there's something to shift on, because this thing, which is supposed to go like that, broke off, and I don't think it's going to be able to be reattached very well at all, so I'm just going to try to JB Weld this and then duct tape it, and hopefully that'll get us enough shifter to get back to town.
The whole thing like bent in.
Yeah.
Supplies are dangerously low. Our water rations are running out.
So I think there's a running stream right there, Danny.
No.
We're inches from a stream.
There's coyotes everywhere. Wolves surrounding us. We're fucked. This basically means the trip is kind of over at this point, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, we only have 3 days left anyway, Danny.
No, it's over right now. Like, we should just stay here.
Oh, never seen a steadier shift lever.
Fires up.
There's no fucking way. We just are driving back on this road, and the first sign we see, like 3 miles down the road, is a motorcycle repair place. No fucking way. Oh my god. Alright, let's go see him.
Hola. Hola. Me llamo Jonah.
Shifter?
Yes,
And these guys are so nice. We're extremely lucky.
Hace un año.
Muchas gracias. No way. They just gave us a whole bottle of like the best mezcal that we've ever had, made from these plants.
Yeah. By far the best.
This is unreal.
Wow.
Jonah should crash his motorcycle more often.
Alright, Danny.
The funny part is, literally earlier today, we were passing all these mezcalerias, which are like kind of tourist trappy places. We were like, oh, it would be kind of cool to like learn about the mezcal making process and to try some. And then this happens, which is like 10 times what one of those experiences would be. Wow.
Vamos
We're gonna try to attempt to ride our dirt bikes out of here.
Hey, little bro.
This is the best motorcycle crash ever.
By this point in the trip, we had realized that the interruptions were the journey. When things go wrong and not according to plan, that's when the true adventure begins. That night, we found a small restaurant to get food and made friends with a few guys that were there.
We were pretty worried about the thunderstorm that's happening, so we just are trying to take shelter in this this restaurant we were eating at, and we just I just tried to pay this woman like $10 like 5 times, and she would not let me pay her to let us sleep here. And the meal, she just gave us all this beer, and these guys are treating us with so much hospitality, giving us beers. It's just it's honestly insane, the level of hospitality and kindness we've received here in Mexico. So Jesse's hot in conversation, talking with this guy about this and that. It's been so awesome. So have some nice shelter under this roof tonight. Hopefully wake up in the morning not wet, and continue on.
Para tú.
How'd you sleep? I think that certainly goes down as one of my worst nights of sleep of my entire life. I was every few minutes I would wake up because someone would be walking around or some animal would be scurrying around in the distance. There's so many cars, but muchas gracias to the lady who let us sleep here. 'Cause at least we weren't wet.
How'd you sleep?
Yeah, it was really bad.
Perfect.
It was impressively bad.
Yeah.
It was really nice.
I think I actually was waking up once every 10 to 20 minutes for the entire night.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was sick.
Sick, dude.
Yeah, traveling's dope.
It was nearing the end of our trip, so we had some serious ground to cover. The terrain was incredible through Chiapas. The next 2 days, we covered a ton of miles and did some beautiful camping along the way.
We just woke up in a random farm field in Chiapas, Mexico. We just crossed over the border last night, and the sunrise this morning is insane.
It's kind of sad.
What?
It's our second to last night of this.
Yeah.
Tonight we camp. The next night we stay in Tuxtla, and then we fly back home. It actually is really sad. Last time setting up camp, which is kind of sad, honestly. But we found this little clearing that's pretty beautiful.
It's been one of the coolest trips, I think, of all of our lives. It's definitely been long, but it's I could definitely keep going. But I feel so stoked that we get to look forward to another month of this a year from now. So it's a different kind of sad for the ending of the trip, because it's not the end of the trip. It's just an 11-month break. So
Your hair looks like you've been on a motorcycle trip for a month.
My hair, yeah. I gave up day 2.
Jesse, how do you feel?
I feel like I fucking hate this chair. Sucks ass.
Jesse did not bring a chair on this trip, so every time we set up camp, me and Danny are just like, God, I'm so comfy. And Jesse's just
on the ground.
I don't know what you guys are talking about. I've like literally never been so uncomfortable my whole life. Yeah, I don't know. Any like big trip ending is kind of a mixed bag. There's definitely some amount of like, be nice to like wake up in the same place a couple days in a row kind of thing. But also it's been so fun and we've like done so much interesting stuff and met so many cool people, and it's kind of a bummer to stop doing that. Yeah, definitely kind of sad, but as Jonah said, it's nice to know that like, unlike most trips, you just like have to wait a year and then you just get to keep doing it. So
Yeah, it does suck when trips like this end, but we've had so many cool experiences on this trip, like things that I don't think any of us expected. Again, met so many amazing people, and like Mexico has just been beautiful. I mean, it's our last night. I honestly expected us, when we were on the border of Guatemala, I expected us to be like in a jungle, but we're in like a pine forest right now. And I feel like that was sort of a theme for the whole trip, was like everywhere we went, all the landscapes were so amazing and so different and so beautiful. Actually, surprisingly, I'm excited to not eat tacos every day and just have that as like a, you know, like a Tuesday thing. But yeah, it is kind of sad, and the cool thing is we just get to do this in 11 months again. So we need to plan that and book flights soon.
Our friend Miguel that we stayed with earlier had linked us up with another rider that lived near the border of Guatemala. Among many other insanely nice things, he offered to store our bikes in his garage for an entire year until we returned to push further south. So the plan was to get to the border, cancel our vehicle permits that only last 6 months, and store our bikes with him. As we neared the border, something happened that honestly we considered not putting in this video. But at the end of the day, we're here to document exactly what happened.
So we're headed to the border today just to cancel our imports, and kind of always heard that the border areas are the sketchiest in terms of safety, and we just got gas like a couple miles away from the border and like turned around from the trash can, and like this big pickup truck like ripped in front of me and like hit the brakes, and just 3 or 4 guys got out with like these massive guns. And then like 2 more trucks like came in right next to them, and like 3 or 4 more guys came out of each truck, and they just kind of like all surrounded me and like had issues with the GoPro on my face, and I was just like freaking the fuck out. So luckily it turned out okay, we got out of there, but we're definitely trying to get out of this area sooner rather than later.
Yeah, after they surrounded Jonah, they ran up to me and they were just like, don't Dave Hannon. We're just like, where are you going? And we were all just like super startled. And like Jonah said, everything ended up okay. Yeah, I think we're all a little frazzled right now. I'm just glad that we made it out of there. We're gonna get all of our documents in order and get the hell out of here.
Freaking amazing. Thank you so much.
No, don't worry.
Mexico isn't a country without issues. No country comes without issues. Parts of Mexico are dangerous just like parts of the US are dangerous. Even after going through the situation on our last day, we felt an overwhelming sense of warmth and hospitality from our time in Mexico. So many people went out of their way to help us, from helping us fix our bikes, hosting us at their homes, to the 1 million smiles and waves we received. Everywhere we went, there were incredible people. On top of that, Mexico is ridiculously beautiful. From the deserted white sand beaches we experienced in Baja, to watching snow fall 16,000 feet up a volcano, to the beautiful churches and architecture we found in central Mexico. And the fact that we got to spend so much time together doing something that all of us had always dreamed of was so special. Everything we saw and everything we experienced wouldn't mean 1/10 as much if we were doing it alone. One of the funny things that happened was while we were in Querétaro at the dealership. We started talking to an older guy who had ridden a ton throughout his life. He wished us well on our journey, but warned us that Guatemala was extremely dangerous. It reminded us of people back in the States who warned us about going to Mexico for the same reason. Elsewhere is scary. The unknown is always scary. Taking risks is scary. It's always important to be cautious, but if you live your life letting that initial fear keep you from going out and seeing for yourself, you might miss out on some of the most incredible things life has to offer.
All right, let's go. You get the cake shot?
Yeah. So as we go through our stuff, Jonah has a big decision to make about his pillow.
It's going in the trash. Wow, that could not be more tanked. That's like maximum tankage.